breeze from the heat wave stole my emotions. I left my doubts when I was swept by the ocean, and every pulse from the tide was a finish line. A wave race we were made to ride. You and I were first in line, and we took them by surprise. I was with you all the time. You may not realize, but I'm here. I hear you loud and clear. When we get lost in our own minds, you'll be keeping me near.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Well, this is the video many of you have been asking for, the DJI FPV Combo, package and drone. What the heck do I think about it? Well, you know, I fly every drone on the planet that's a consumer drone, so I'm probably one of the few reviewers that actually flies everything and reviews everything. So I guess, yeah, my opinion really counts for what do I think about this here product. Now, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are in different categories who would fit into this drone. So because of that, I've made this video for 3 types of viewers. Number 1, if you are a beginner and have never flown a drone before and you're checking out this video because you're thinking of buying this here FPV drone, this is the video for you. Number 2, if all you've ever flown all your life are camera drones, you know, like DJI Mavics, Phantoms, Autel, Hubsan, those type of drones, those are all camera drones. If that's all you've flown all your life and you've never flown an FPV drone, this video is for you. And the third type would be the people who are into the FPV hobby, like me. You know, FPV pros, been doing it for years and years, and you've been flying every type of FPV drone on the market, and then you see DJI come out with an FPV drone. What do I think about it? Well, this video is for you too. So then, what are my thoughts on this little baby? Well, I've been flying it for a while, and I've even crashed it. I never thought I would crash this drone because I'm very experienced at flying, and it's rare that I crash a drone unless something goes wrong with the drone itself. But oh no, I crashed this one. I was flying and I wanted to try, there's a special button on the controller called the holy crap button. I've done something wrong and I'm about to crash. You press it and the drone will stop in the air. So I flew this full speed at a metal structure, went to press the button, but I pressed the wrong button. So in other words, it wasn't stopping. So I had 2 choices, fly straight up or fly into the ground. So I flew it into the ground thinking, well, there's snow there. It can't be that bad, except the snow was ice. This thing took a big tumble. Didn't break anything. You're going to see, maybe I messed up a few props. That's about it. But since the drone was sitting on its backside like this, all damaged on the ground, and I was looking at it, I just pressed my little flip over button. I have a turtle mode button on here. You probably don't know what turtle mode is, but in the FPV community, turtle mode means if you press a button, guess what? This thing will just flip right over and get ready to fly again. And it actually worked. So check this out. All right, so let's get right to it. What do I think about this FPV drone? Well, I really like it. Honestly, I really like it. It's a hybrid drone. I have managed my expectations. It's not the best FPV drone on the market. No, not even close to that. But it does have so many features that we do not have in the FPV world that are on this drone that make it a very attractive FPV drone, despite its lesser, qualities. It's not the best camera drone on the market either. Heck, if you've got a Mini 2, a DJI Mini 2, it's probably got similar camera on it, on your DJI Mini 2, you're going to get probably better video cinematic footage than you'd get on this baby. This here, the props are in the frame. Yeah, the props are in the frame in every single shot on this. And not only that, since it only has a 1-axis gimbal going up and down, there's no side to side. There's no 3-axis gimbal like on your Mini or any of your other camera drones. So when you go and yaw, you know, and the drone's doing this and moving like that, your footage moves like that. It's total FPV footage, and that's what it's designed for. A lot of people really don't like that because they're so used to like turning the drone around and the horizon stays perfectly level. Oh no, not on this. You're going to get horizon tilt everywhere because that's what it's designed for. It's up to you, the pilot, to keep it level. Now there's a way you can do it, and I might show you in this video how to do it to keep everything level, but you know, overall, no. Same as if you take photos on this. It takes beautiful 12 megapixel photos. But if it's sitting in the wind hovering and the wind is blowing it like this, your photos are coming out sideways. So you see where I'm going with this? It's not the best camera drone. It's not the best FPV drone. But as a total package and all the options and features it has, nothing else is like it on the market. So I love it for that. It's not for everybody, and I'm going to explain in this video who it's for and who it's not for. But before I get to that, who wants to watch me talking for like 2 hours? So let me show you some video I took with this and what I've been using it for. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you here, and I'll just go into some other video and throw some music with it, is chasing RC planes. So I've got my buddy Andre. He's got an RC plane. He wants to fly it. So we take it out. I love this baby because normally when I follow an RC plane with an FPV drone, I can't really capture a lot of the moments beforehand. But this, I fly it like a camera drone. So it just sits in the air and I can use the camera up and down. You can't do that on an FPV drone. And you'll see I can follow Andre as he's walking along. And then when he's ready to go, I switch it into manual mode, which is acro mode. And then I can chase the plane. And my God, it is so good for that. So for that, 2 thumbs up. Check this out and then come back to me and I'll tell you who this drone is for and who this drone is not for, the good and the bad. Here we go. Yes, Andre broke a ski on his plane in that video. All right, now on to this drone. How much do you think this little baby weighs? Well, it weighs 795 grams. It is the most powerful drone that DJI has ever made to date. So this thing can shoot up at rocket speed. It can fly forward at rocket speed. It's super powerful. So are you kind of thinking, how noisy are the props then on this thing? Well, I can tell you how noisy they are here. Let me show you a comparison between the DJI Mini 2, the DJI Mavic Air 2, and the FPV drone to show you noise. Check it out. can see from that comparison, it is a freaking loud, screechy drone. You can hear it in the sky. You can hear it coming. There's no hiding this drone. When I have flown this on the many outings I've taken, even when I'm flying slow, I have people looking all over the place like, what is that? What, where? This thing can be heard. So that might be a negative for some people, but you know what, just keep it away from people. So since the DJI FPV drone is, well, it's pretty much a hybrid drone, you know, like it's part Mavic, part FPV. That means it's not going to appeal to everybody. So let me tell you who this drone is for and who it's going to appeal to. So beginners who do not own a drone whatsoever, they are going to love this drone. If this is your first drone, if you're a beginner and you get this package, you are going to be in heaven. Now let me tell you why. I've got a whole list of whys down here, all the positives. So the first thing is it's really easy to fly. My God, you start off with this in N mode. I'll show you the modes later. N mode is like so simple to fly. This thing pretty much flies itself. You will love it. And as you get better, then you have S mode, which is sport mode, and then it takes a bit more skill. And as you get better at that, then you have M mode, which is manual mode, and you can go insane. You can be better than any Mavic on the planet, any other drone on the planet with this thing, because it's going into FPV. And you have the full FPV, stands for first person view, experience. So, you know, a lot of drones don't offer that. So beginners, if you get this as a beginner, you're going to love it. A few more things that are positive on this is it is an indoor-outdoor drone. Yes, you can fly it indoors. You already saw me flying it indoors doing the noise test. Obstacle avoidance in the front, but I have to warn you, the obstacle avoidance only works in N mode. And it doesn't work like any other drone, but if you're a beginner, you won't mind. So what I mean by that is other drones on the market by DJI that have obstacle avoidance will fly, and as you approach an obstacle, two things will happen. Well, the drone will stop, and if the drone is really smart, a lot of DJI drones have super smart obstacle avoidance, the drone will go around the obstacle or over or under. This has none of that. Nope, this here comes up to an obstacle and it slows down, and it basically just says, well, you know, I'm going to stop, but if you push that joystick, okay, I'm going forward, smash, it will go forward. So it warns you, you see it in your goggles, there's an obstacle in front, well, you can see straight ahead anyways, but you'll see a warning, and you'll hear some beeping, and the beeping will get faster, but if you keep flying forward, even though it's trying to slow you down, it's going to let you crash into something. But as a beginner, never experiencing obstacle avoidance on any DJI drone, that would be very helpful for a beginner because it's better than nothing. Next reason beginners will love this is because this is the fastest drone on the planet by DJI. So pretty much, you know, you start off moving slow, and as your skills get better, you're going faster than anybody else. It has range that is out of this world. Very solid range on this thing. So yeah, you got a really good drone. All the DJI safety features are in this, so you cannot take off if you're in an area close to an airport or some other structure you shouldn't be near. If the battery gets low or you go out of range, the drone will fly back to you. Also, it has a 20-minute flight time. Beginners will get 20 minutes, but people who are very experienced with drones won't get 20 minutes because as soon as you start flying erratically or really fast, your flight time goes way down. Also has the panic button on the controller. You hit that. No matter what you're doing, hit that. The drone will just stop in midair and just sit there and wait for your next command. So then with all these positives, are there any negatives for a beginner? Only one, the price. It's very expensive. But then again, you're getting the highest technology in digital FPV goggles. You're getting a controller that can shoot out a signal 10 kilometers away, and you're getting a drone that is a hybrid drone that will fly like a Mavic and then fly like an FPV drone, and is the most powerful drone that DJI makes. So you get an awful lot as a beginner. And as I've already mentioned, for a beginner, tons of room to grow. You start from nothing and no bad habits, nothing, and you grow into this, and then you can fly any drone on the planet. If you can fly on this, ooh, you're doing well. So in summary, for you beginners out there, buy this drone. You will love it. Take my advice, buy this drone. You're gonna have a great time. Now, for you people out there, viewers that already own a DJI Mavic, a Phantom, Autel Evo, I don't know, Typhoon H by Unique, I don't know, a Hubsan, a Fimi, you may not like this as much. So I'm going to say 50% of you are going to love it and 50% of you are not going to love it. First off, let me start with the positives. So the reason you're going to love it, if you're in that category, is the FPV experience. You can't get that with your camera drone. No way. You're going to have that experience. You got long range. You got the fastest drone on the planet from DJI. And you have the whole FPV experience that I've already mentioned, but FPV in manual mode, which means no restrictions. The drone's doing nothing for you. You're doing flips and everything. You're flying in between things and in and out of stuff. That is the love. That's the positives of this thing. Well, that's all the positives, pretty much. Now let me get to the negatives. There's a lot of negatives. All right, you ready? Here we go. So let me just turn this way. First problem for people with camera drones is, well, props in the frame. I already mentioned that. Props in the frame, first one. Next one is no 3-axis gimbal. So when the drone is sitting in the air hovering, if the wind or whatever's causing it to do this, your image does that, which a lot of people want that beautiful cinematic, smooth, flowing looking video. This is not going to give it to you unless you're flying forward. As soon as you're flying forward, things get smooth. But if you're sitting going slow, not so smooth, especially if there's wind. Next item is, what do we all love on our drones, camera drones? We love the camera, and we love cameras because they have so many features and settings and modes. Not a lot on here. Matter of fact, when I got this here camera drone, this FPV drone, I went to switch it into 4K 30 frames per second. It doesn't exist on here. It goes 4K 60, 4K 50, and then it drops down. I have to look over there. 1080p, 50, 60, 100, and 120 frames per second. You know, it's missing all the standard settings that a lot of us use. Not only that, there's not a lot of manual settings in this. There's very basic settings. It's pretty much because it's an Osmo action camera squished into the drone. So you just get basic action camera settings. Next would be the obstacle avoidance, as I mentioned, for the beginners. You know, you camera drone people that have DJI drones are used to that really smart obstacle avoidance that a DJI drone has, you know, like in the front, the back, the bottom, the top, sides. Doesn't exist in here. This is like an obstacle avoidance. You know, I'm just going to suggest to you that you should stop the drone before flying into that wall. Oh, what's that? You're ignoring me? Okay, fly into the wall. That's pretty much it with this one. Flight time. Flight time. You're going to hate it in this drone. Well, you're really going to dislike it because on your camera drones, you all have like 30 minutes of flight time, right? This is rated at 20 minutes of flight time. If you fly this in FPV manual mode or in sport mode, your time's going down to like 12 minutes, 10 minutes. You really don't get a lot of flight time before the return to home kicks in. Then we get to all those cool DJI features we're used to. Active track. There's no active track on here. This drone's not following me. It's over 250 grams. It has no quick shots. I can't set it up and let it do things autonomously. There's no hyperlapse. There's none of that stuff on here. And finally, the price. This is more expensive than a lot of drones on the market. If you want a really good drone for cinema, you're going to go buy yourself the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. And this price point for all of this is not far off of that. So, you know, get yourself a DJI Mavic 2 Pro if you're doing cinema, like you're filming stuff, the next great movie. This will not get you the next great movie. This is like for having a blast, pretty much. You can get cinematic footage. Like I've flown it around to get some cinematic footage, as I'm probably showing you here, and it looks really good. But you have to know what you're doing to get that. So in summary, for people that already own camera drones and we're looking at this, the only plus is this whole FPV, first-person view, you know, immersive experience that you get. It's amazing. It's beyond belief, out of body, but will the price and, you know, the lesser camera convince you to pop over to this here? I'm going to say 50% of you, yes, and the other 50%, no. So now we're on the last group of people that might be interested in this drone, and those are the people like me. See behind me, tons of FPV drones. I'm in the FPV drone hobby. I'm in the camera drone hobby and the FPV drone hobby, and I've been that way for many years. I love both hobbies. You know, each has its purpose. So this drone, when I heard it was coming out, being an FPV guy as well, FPV guy, I was like, oh my God, here's a drone that is part FPV and part camera. I can use it for both. This is going to be great. So I was really stoked and excited about this, and I still am. I still think it's pretty decent. It works for my needs. People in the FPV hobby right now. So you own a pile of FPV drones. They're all made out of carbon fiber. You've been flying them for a long time. You can do wicked little skills and maneuvers in the air and everything else. Is this drone for you? I'm going to say for 60% of you watching right now, this drone is for you. For the other 40%, this is not for you. No, this is not for you. Matter of fact, you'd probably take it back to the store, the other 40%, after you flew it one time and go, no, this is not for me. So for the 60% that would buy it, let me tell you why you would buy it. First off, in the FPV hobby, we do not have a movable camera on any of our drones. We set our camera at 25 degrees or higher and we fly off and that's it. And we just use our throttle control to move the camera up and down by getting the drone to move up and down. And it works for us. We're used to it. But this thing, as I'm flying in manual mode, I can take my finger and I can spin the camera. I'm doing it here on the remote with this little dial. I can move the camera up and down. As a matter of fact, when you switch this drone into M mode, manual mode, which is acro mode, the camera pops from 0 to 20 degrees automatically. For a lot of you out there, 20 degrees is perfectly fine. But if you want to fly faster, you're going to bump it up to 30 degrees and you'll get even more speed top end out of it because you're going to tilt the drone more like this and be pulling more and more air as you're flying with the camera pointing forward. But if you want to go slow, the lovely thing on this that I love when I want to get like scene whoop type footage or something like that, what I do is I drop the camera angle as I'm flying, I drop it down to 5 degrees. And then all of a sudden I'm going really slow because now in order to keep my camera pointing forward, well, then the drone is no longer like this because to get it to go forward, I have to have it like this and I fly nice and slow forward. And you get some really good footage that way. You can't do that in the FPV hobby, so the movable camera is a selling feature for me. Next is the flight time. I know it's rated at 20 minutes, but in FPV mode, manual mode, you're only going to get like 10 or 12 minutes out of this. And 10 or 12 minutes is not that bad in something that weighs 795 grams. Other items are the range, 10 kilometers. We usually have to really boost our crossfires to get 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers with those. But this, right out of the box, 10 kilometers. Also, the FPV quality in the goggles, if you've never flown digital before, it's night and day. It's like high definition. And this version 2 and this system here, oh my God, the picture is even better than what you're used to in the DJI FPV Air unit. Silly little features in here that we would never want in the FPV world, like return to home. Say I'm getting bored and I can't be bothered to fly my drone back and I want to put my gear away. I just hit the return to home button. The drone will come back and land while I'm putting my gear away. That's pretty awesome. On the bottom, there's actually a landing light that's automatic, or you can turn it on and off as you're flying. So if you're flying in the late evening, you have the lights on the arms, which are configurable to any color you want, any strobe pattern you want. As well, you can have this little light at the bottom shine and it looks pretty cool. The panic button is a definite bonus because in the FPV world, we all fly and crash our drones on purpose a lot of times because we're trying to make it under or through something, or we're doing flips or rolls or some maneuver in the air and the drone, we lose altitude too fast and we can't pull up in time. Well, this, even when you're doing those things, hit the panic button if you think you're not going to make it. It will right itself and it will just sit in the air, wait for your next command. GPS is built in here and it's the good kind. It's the very accurate kind, not like the kind we have in our FPV race quads and freestyle quads, which will get the drone back to us, kind of, but never always within, quite a distance away. This is going to drop the drone down beside you within a few feet of where you took off. The GPS is really good. And you can turn it on and off anytime while you're flying. I think it's on permanently, and it's just up to you to change the mode to have it activated. And the GPS keeps track of where the drone is, so whenever you lose the drone, not that you should, you can find it pretty easy. And you find it right in the app. It will show you a map of where your drone is. Finally, the last positive is you don't have to put a GoPro on it. I know I would prefer a GoPro because, in my opinion, a GoPro Hero 8 or 9 is a much better camera than the included one in here, especially for the hyper smooth stability. This is not that good. I think it only allows for 10-degree movement on either side, whereas a GoPro can go a lot farther, 20 degrees, I'm sure. But all in all, it's just another drone you don't have to attach a camera to. It's permanently on there and it's one system going through. What you see out the camera is what you're recording, coming back to your goggles. It's that awesome. Now for the 40% that won't buy this, let me tell you the negatives why they won't buy this. First off, the price. My God. Who's going to pay this much money in the FPV world? Because if you're already in the FPV world with drones and everything, you probably already own the goggles. Why would you buy this package again and get the goggles again? You don't need a second set. Or maybe have Fat Sharks and you don't want to go digital. Second thing is, not everybody likes using controllers like this. We like these type of radio controllers back there. So not a lot of people are going to like this one. I like it, the way it feels in the hands, although I think the joysticks could use a bit more work, but other than that, it's not bad. Next negative is this drone is breakable. It's not a carbon fiber drone like we have in the FPV hobby, so banging it into the ground, you're probably going to break something. You can replace parts, like you can buy the camera and replace it. You can replace certain components on here, but if you really damage it when nothing's working, you got to send it back to DJI, so you're without a drone. Another negative is DJI went with these idiot-proof props, I call them. You know, they're quick-release props. Well, they make those props for beginners, so beginners know which motors to stick the props on. Haha, guess what? You can put the wrong props on the right motors. I don't know. And this thing will start up and just flip over and then shut itself off. I have no idea why it allows for that, but it does. Finally, the last negative is the tuning. What's the one thing we do and love on all our FPV drones? We love drones for the fact that they are tuned so well. They have an F7 flight controller. They're just tuned so well that they're buttery smooth. This, I find the tuning's okay. It's above average, but it's not as good as a lot of the good FPV drones on the market today. As a matter of fact, I always equate this to having a fat rear end. You know, like something that there's a lot of weight back there when you're flying around. If I want to go through something or around something, I find I've got to pull that butt around just to get it around things. And if you wanted to use this as a race drone to go in and out of gates, you'd have to change the tuning. It's too big, too heavy to go through something, spin on a dime, come back and go the other way. At least I find it's like that. But I have flown it low to the ground. No problems there. I've flown it at super high speeds, low to the ground in daylight and evening light. Not an issue there. I thought it did quite well in that respect, and it does its normal freestyle flips and maneuvers just like any other freestyle drone, but it does have some weight to it. So in summary, for you guys in the FPV hobby, 60% you're going to love it, and the other 40% you're not going to love it. Now, the next thing I want to show you is the flight modes on this baby. This is what makes this a brilliant drone. Not only that it's FPV, but it has 3 modes on it. So you've got normal mode. Normal mode is like a Mavic. If you own a Mavic, you're going to feel right at home flying in normal mode. And the top speed on normal mode, if I look at my chart, is 28 kilometers per hour. I'll put below what that is in miles per hour. Next, you have sport mode. Sport mode on this is not like a Mavic. It's faster and much more tuned for actually cornering. It's a really good sport mode, probably the best one out of any DJI drone on the planet. So in sport mode, you can fly up to 97 kilometers per hour. I'll put again what that is in miles per hour. And in the sport mode, there's a cruise control. I love the cruise control. Finally, the last mode on here is what puts the FPV and FPV drone when people think of FPV, and that is manual mode, which is pretty much the same as we have in the FPV drone world as acro mode. That means there's no safeties on here. If you move the joystick too far in one direction, like too far to the left, the drone will just spin and spin and spin to the left or to the right, or you got it too far nose down, you're just going to spin all over the place. So you have to have both hands on the joysticks. You cannot take your thumbs or pinchy fingers off the joysticks in manual mode. Always got to have them on here controlling throttle, your power, and your direction, which way you're going, or else this thing is falling out of the sky. But that's why you have the panic button up here. Just press that panic button and all's good. So I've gone on an awful lot talking about the FPV immersive experience and all those modes. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you what you see in your goggles when you're flying, and I'm going to show you the different modes. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you by using the DJI Virtual Simulator, explain everything while you're watching that, and then show you some actual flight using those modes. So here we go. Check it out.